Hey, Spencer.
Hi, Robert. How's it going?
Sideways.
How's your busy life?
It's insane. So today's been wall-to-wall meetings. It will be wall-to-wall meetings.
Oh, no.
One of the notes I saw you added about the meeting schedule, you said you would submit requests to our AD. ADs don't have to approve interims anymore. You just enter the
Yeah, yes.
tracker.
And I vaguely remember that. Thank you.
Hello.
Is wrong.
How's it going?
Dave is running soon, and Steve should join.
So I actually have a table behind me. The boxes that behind me are not stacked up that high. And that's my pet box that I keep the other boxes in until they're ready to go out to recycle. Has everybody had a good Thanksgiving or St. Nicholas Day or whatever it is we're celebrating where you are?
Sorry, you were saying? So Steve Steve seems to have problems. Oh no, Steve is there.
Oh, good. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
So
how are you?
Sorry. Did you say how are you?
Yes.
Or where were you?
No. That was next. I was asking if people had a good American Thanksgiving or St. Nicholas Day or whatever it is we're doing where you are.
Yeah, in the north here we do Saint Nicolas, but most of France people don't care.
Yeah, in Germany it is mandatory for me. For me, it is mandatory.
Belgium, and sometimes on YouTube I get Belgian ads, or even there's Amazon Belgium, and I was looking for something, and they said it will ship on time for Saint Nicolas.
It is very important in Germany, yes.
It's the real
was
Santa.
last Sunday. Yeah.
I'm just signing people in as we're here. Do we know if we're expecting anybody else?
No, Dave is there, and I see Michael Niedermeyer. Hello, Michael.
Here comes Dave. Yes, perfect.
Yeah, good morning. I'm here. Just a little sick.
Hi, Dave. I'm just signing people in. I think we have at least one more minute before we can get started. We can go ahead and get started. Oh no! Oh,
I think we have everyone.
Oh, good. Okay, let's go. Let's go ahead and get mostly started. I signed everybody in. I'm reminding people that this is an IETF activity, which means that it is covered by the IETF note well. Please refresh your memory on that if you need to. Check to see if anybody has read the October interim meeting minutes, and if so, either way, whether any corrections are needed.
It's okay with me.
Yeah, okay.
And got okays?
Yep.
Perfect. So a thing that Robert and I had talked about, and I don't think it may just be that we haven't had a meeting since then, but we have not submitted our meeting reservations for 2026 yet. And that would be a good thing for me to share with you all now. This is This is what I had. This is kind of what you would expect from previous years. We're canceling 2 of the meetings because of IETF meetings that would overlap, basically, and we do not need to. We do not need to worry about Easter this time, and we move forward to the second Tuesday after American Thanksgiving. So, any objections on that?
No.
No.
It's fine.
Okay, cool. And I said I would go ahead and submit that. Let's see.
You'll end up having to do about 8 clicks per date in the Data Tracker to request those.
That's okay. I'm younger than I look. And that gets us to working group documents. The first 2, I have updates for you all as of yesterday. The CELLAR tags draft, we submitted a revision -20. That's actually in ISG evaluation now. Thank you all for getting all that moved forward. And CELLAR Codec is we had one change to a reference that was now 404ing that we needed to submit an update in order to correct that reference, and that's now in requested publication status, and so this is watch for the AD evaluation emails on the mailing list. So those things may be coming in before our next meeting. The tags draft is on the ISG telechat ballot in early January. And that gets us to the ones that are currently expired. Chapter Codex, we said we were waiting to return to that draft previously. Is that still the right answer?
Yes, probably in 2026 I should have time to finish that. I mean, there was always the DVD part, but we can probably go around and do with what we have, which is basically what exists in libDVD read, but basically supports every non-DVD, so it should be enough. So yeah, next year, hopefully, can work on that.
Okay, cool. What about FFV1 V4?
Yeah, still on pause, but same. I will have time in 2026 for sure. And what I need to start from what Michael Mittermeier sent last year or beginning of the year, I think, about some updates on FFV1 V4, for example, storing the raw bits when the bit depth is very high. We don't need to try to compress the lower bits. And Michel proposed a couple of suggestions about how to store them, and I need to bench them and then to put that in the specifications. And yeah, for the moment it is on hold, but in 2026 it will be I will be available for that.
Okay.
Michel also written, and it is in FFmpeg, about the support of floating points. It is in FFmpeg code already, and I need to write the specification. Michel, what we have money for in FFmpeg, so it may be possible to fund some FFV1 work. Great. I will write, so needs to be submitted in and discussed on FFmpeg levels. Okay, I will write to FFmpeg level. Michel, do you mean that this font would be available also for writing the specification, or it is only in FFmpeg directly?
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I will ask on the FFmpeg level. Our main interest for the moment is to how to store the lower bits, because compressing in 16 bits also with GPU acceleration is still slow. And if we can store, for example, the 4 or the 6 last bits in row and not compressing them, we don't lose a lot of compression, but we have a big speed improvement. So something like the double of the speed. So this feature, it will be very useful. So I will write on FFmpeg level and so comment on the proposals of Michel.
Okay, cool.
We also we are finishing to optimize the GPU acceleration of FFV1 V3, and we will take we want to learn a lot about what is the blocker in FFV1 V3 with the GPU acceleration in order to suggest some optimization if FFV1 V4. So we learn a lot from the GPU acceleration. With FFV1 V3, yes.
Right. Is that about right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. If we were, so Robert, jump in here anytime. My definition of milestone dates is usually thinking in terms of IETF meetings. So our choices would be like March 2026, July 2026, or November 2026.
I would say mid-2026, July, okay. Let's say.
So is anybody externally waiting for the IETF version of these documents? Do they need to know to expect dates? I mean, it's good for us to
know. For the moment, people are very happy with IETF standard of FFV1 V3. and it is a very positive thing that we can say that FEV1 is a standard and it was reviewed by IETF. It is very positive. And one of the issue is that FEV1 V3 is too good. So it is already a lot used, and it is enough for most people.
Mhm. So not just this document, but any of the documents, do we need a published date for other people to refer to and say, we're expecting the IETF will produce this by this date? Where I'm going with this question, there is a mode of working group management where we take dates off the milestones and we just have milestones in order and we don't have dates against them. You know, it's good for us to talk about dates internally and set expectations, but if we don't need extra driving functions or we don't need to be telegraphing them to people, then
No, we don't have any pressure for the moment, on my side at least. So maybe someone needs to say if there is some pressure, but on my side, I don't have any pressure. So it is the reason that it is a bit slow.
So Spencer, unless you'd object, I'll ask Ori if he would be willing
But
to commit the dateless.
it doesn't mean that we want to ignore IETF. It is just that Matroska is more the priority, so it is good to have a first version of everything in Matroska published in IETF, and FFV1 V4 is a lower priority for the moment, but we wish to keep the working group because we will need it at some point. So
Yes.
I hope in 2026. So for me, it is important to keep it alive. It is just, it is slow.
Yeah, all I'm talking about is just managing our bits in the database that the IESG uses, and maybe changing it to something that's a little bit simpler, requires less maintenance going forward.
Yeah. So, and what Robert's talking about is this document, the chapter codex, does not have a date associated with its milestone, but this one does. So,
we change it
to if we don't need milestone dates appearing in the data tracker, right, Robert?
Right.
We can remove it if it is also if it is not an issue for you. I would remove it.
Okay, so I've got that Robert will check with Ori to see if we can operate with dateless milestones, which is what, like the last year, maybe, Robert?
No, I brought those into existence while I was on the IESG. So it's
wow.
a decade.
Man, did we tell anybody they were legal? This was a long time ago. Cool. So we know what to do with those. Do we want to talk about errata reports?
Yes. So there was a few pending for a long time on the GitHub. There's still a few. I submitted 2 of them for the Matroska specification, RFC. So they are in state reported. Let me copy the link in the chat.
And we're talking real errata in the errata.
The RFC editor, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So they're in a reported state, and I don't know what. So it should go into verified, I think, or rejected.
Yeah, so this is something that we have to tell our AD what we think should happen with these things. So, Spencer, do you have the link, or do you want to stop sharing and I can share?
Let me stop sharing and let you share. I can find it, but not as fast as you can. Actually, I lied. I could do it that fast.
All right, so these are the two that Steve are talking about. Is
Mhm.
that legible? Do I need to make the font bigger?
Could you bump up about one notch?
I can read.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right, so so this first errata, was that a
The first one is just removing one line, so
mhm.
the max occur shouldn't be there.
So
Yeah.
right. What was the genesis of this error? Is it that max occurs didn't make any sense in that space at all to begin with, and it never did, and we just editorially missed that it was there, or is this a protocol change?
I have to look at there's a link to the GitHub discussion, but I think it was a report by someone. But basically, yeah, it was always the intention that an attachment can have many links. It didn't make sense to have just like how it was done there. So yeah, it was just an error. I think from when we turned the old path with the occurrence, etc., into text that
Mhm.
was wrong. So that was just like a copy paste mistake, something like that.
Sure. Is
It was
there
never
any
intended to be.
supporting evidence elsewhere in the text that says that would say, yeah, this was clearly people reading other parts of the text would get it right?
Let me try to pull the email requests.
Robert, we're talking about the difference between verified and held for document update, probably.
That's correct.
Okay.
You can check on the GitHub link. Wait, no, that's not the one. Wrong link. 32. So the issue was 930. And for example, in the issue, not the patch, let me pass the link. I say, as far as I can see, Caxtrax attachment link has always been considered as unique in Matroska.
Okay.
That's the opposite. So it used to be multiple, but it should be no, it used to be single, and now it should be multiple.
All right. I think I can argue with Ori that this was clearly intended to be, and that this one should go to verified. Spencer, could you put a link to a link to that? Copy the last link that Steve put into the chat into the notes so I can chase them.
I absolutely will do that. And that's the pool
932 and 930.
Okay, got it.
All right. So for errata ID 8616,
Yes.
is this is clarification? It's what was intended. Is it? It doesn't change the protocol, really, right?
Yeah, it was Michael from Google, Michael Bradshaw, was working also on WebM. Let me pass the issue. Created that issue, and then it was explaining that the codec delay and other things was not fully specified, so there was some room for different interpretations.
Mhm.
And after some discussion, we came up with the updated text, which is which has more text to tighten the possibilities.
So if I will go try to convince Ori that this should also go to verified, he might push back and say it should go into hold for document update if just under the guise that this is an actual change that isn't necessarily it's a we realized later that we needed to say something different than what the actual document said versus we made a editorial mistake kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
basically to compute the timestamp of something, there are different extra values that have been added over time, and we need to explain how to use them, if they're added, when, etc. So
so one of
basically,
the
all of
things
them
that
are.
we can do, this is just IETF arcana now that I
Yeah,
wanted
right.
to talk about, is that if this needs to go into hold for document update, then when we publish Matroiska v5, we can also update Matroiska v4. Right.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm assuming that v5 wouldn't obsolete v4, but that's a conversation we can have in the future, right?
Right.
If it obsoletes it, then the v5 document can say what it needs to say. But if it leaves the v4 document as a proposed standard, then it would update it. So that's just arcana to let you know what it means if this goes into hold for document update instead of verified.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So the next question that I had on these errata is that we've got still like 8 outstanding errata against that are in just reported against 87. No.
Yeah, 8794, the EBML one.
Yeah. We don't have to do it on this call, but is there a way we can follow up on these and recommend to, I mean, are they all from you, Steve?
Well, all of them
It's not.
come from discussions on GitHub. Sometimes other people, actually, one of them is not me. People report an issue that they find, and we fix it, and basically it becomes an errata. There's always some discussions before on GitHub.
Are any of these dead obvious? And you don't have to answer right this second, but if any of these are dead obvious, no, it was just a technical editing error in the document, then we'd recommend they go to approved. Otherwise, we would recommend they go to hold for document update. So if you, Steve, would later send me a note saying if any of these are, this was very clear from the document, other places in the document, it should just be verified versus no, we realized that more clarification was needed, then we'll recommend hold for document update and we can get these things classified.
Yes. Yeah.
Robert?
Some of them, for example, if you look at the bottom of the list, there's one that says held for document update. So
Yep.
that means we have to publish a document update. Because there was like
so
a typo.
specifically, what held for document update means is that there's not a decision about whether or not the errata report is correct.
Okay.
The working group will create a new document that takes this errata report into account.
Okay.
And the point for having the two different paths, verified versus hold for document update, is that we can't make any consensus calls on errata. Right? It just needs to be dead obvious that it was the consensus of the working group. It's just the document didn't capture the consensus of the working group correctly for it to be a verified errata.
Okay, that's strange.
It's the consensus of the working, if the protocol is changing and we need the working group to develop consensus again, then we need another document. We can't do that with an errata.
Yeah, but if you look at the content of this one, it's just one of the element ID. I don't know if you remember, was excluded or included, and it shouldn't have been according to everything else that was said in the document. So it had to be removed. In this case, added because the element 0x80 is used in Matroska. So it's definitely not possible not to allow it because it's already used. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can take that one back to Ori and ask him to reclassify it as verified in that case. If you want, sending me email pointing to the place where it was already used elsewhere in Matroska would make it easier for me to but how do we know EMBL? How does a reader of the MBL spec know? Like, is it in that document? Is it in RSC 8797 that 80 was already used?
It was used in Matroska, and because we did EBML before Matroska, we didn't realize that we had excluded one element that should be there.
So that's why Murray classified this as hold for document update.
Okay.
So what we could do is with Matroska V5 or some other document, we can or we could write a very short document that just does an update, but probably one of these other products can just say, this updates that.
Okay. And an update document, is there like a formal way, like the errata, or is just
It's submitting a draft, getting it adopted by the working group, getting consensus on the document, and
yeah, but I mean the text itself. The text itself has a special way of describing how it's updating, what part and why, etc. Okay.
Yeah, in creating the document, you say this document updates that RFC, and you'll have a section that says this document makes the following changes to that RFC. And in this case, I think it's also trying to make a change. Is this not down in a IANA registration section? I'm just guessing. I haven't gone to look.
Yes, it's possible. Yes. Actually, I can check.
Has the change already been made to the IANA registry through some other mechanism?
No, I don't think so. But
so that's another reason to have a document update would be direct IANA to go make that change. So you and I can talk by email about whether or not it's better to do this with just one small short document, or if it's a thing that we bolt on to Matroska v5.
So yes, in the RFC for EBML, the EBML ID registry says that the following one-octet element IDs are reserved. So 0xFF and 0x80. So 80 was a reserved value according to the Liana. And now it's not reserved because it's already used by Matroska. So there
And
might be
the
no change.
EBML document actually said that already?
It says that 80 was reserved.
Okay, can you send me, just mail me a link to the text that says that?
Yeah. I'll put in the chat first. And the text is this. Oops.
Okay, good enough. I can go make this approved, but we may have to go separately send something to Diana. Sorry.
Okay.
Verified was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So, but Spencer, please capture that link again in
Yeah,
the notes.
I just stuck it in the notes.
Thank you. All right, so I think that's enough on errata. I can take these. Although I would again, Steve, I guess for the rest of the ones that are just in reported, if you could go through that same exercise and say that the document already supports this change, or if it's something that we need to get working group consensus on again, would be very helpful.
Sure.
All right, now if I can just get back to here, I can stop sharing. There we go.
Cool. And that gets us I think that gets us down to Matroska v5.
So it seems everybody agrees that we can start sending a first draft.
Yes. So
we already built a document, already refined it, so it's readable with multiple chapters, and I keep adding some, like the Z standard addition is ready. I implemented it in VLC to make sure everything is okay, and in my other tool to create files. So we probably approve it, and it will be added automatically to the V5 document. I'll probably send the first draft after merging that.
So for us to go through the formal process of adopting this working group document, we'll have to warn Ori and let him give us a milestone for it. The charter text supports it already, so we don't have to fight through a recharter. What draft name do you expect to use?
I can tell you already. It's draft. Let me copy it in the chat.
Okay. So don't submit that until Spencer, I say so, because we need Ori to agree that we're going to have a draft IETF. So or submit it as draft loan instead of draft IETF, and then we can adopt it, and you would submit it again later as draft IETF, replacing draft loan. Either way.
We are not in hurry, so we can wait a bit.
Yeah. Yes. I think because when we submit, we just send an XML file. I think in the XML file it says which working group, etc. So
Right.
it's basically automatic that it will end up as a document.
Well, it says which working group, but there's a difference between a document that says, hey, you working group, we want you to consider this versus, hey, this working group has adopted this as a working group document. And then the naming convention is draft person name versus draft IETF for those two different states. And it's pretty clear this group's going to adopt this document, right? But there's still a process to potentially go through. This particular ISG is concerned about laying down artifacts that the process was followed, and they are trying to make a claim that there is a call for adoption thing that needs to have an artifact. That they're wrong. We had a big conversation at the working group chairs meeting at IETF 124 where Pete Resnick pointed out that a working group chair can just say, submit that document. It's a working group document. So I'm fine going that path, but I want to make sure Ori is on board before we do it.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
basically, I just send an email
Yeah.
to the list and in copy Ori just in case with the XML and say we would like to publish that as a new document.
Yeah, let me send the email to Ori, and then I will ask you to publish. So put the onus on me for the moment. Yeah, all about leaving the right record when we're all gone and aren't here to explain what happened. So.
I think at this point, somebody from the IETF is going to survive forever.
Yeah.
I mean, the research work started in '69, didn't it? So yeah, but you know, the next millennium, somebody might not be around.
Millennium, yeah.
Cool. So that's a good process discussion. Let me ask the other simplifying question. Do we have something that we can point to in GitHub and say this is what V5 will be now? That we can point to now and say this is what the V5.00 would contain?
Technically, whenever someone sends something and as a pull request, the XML code is built and you can download it from the merge request, and that's basically the XML that you couldn't set to
Cool.
Steve, submission.
Yes, exactly, Steve. Could you stick the pull request in? It already exists, right?
Well, any pull request builds the whole documents. You have to look at the bottom of each pull request. There's a checked checks passed. If you look
Okay.
at the jobs, for example, build RFCs, I'll send you a link.
Okay.
Maybe I don't see the artifacts. Maybe they are removed.
So it has to be a recent build.
Yeah, I think they remove it after a while, but basically, if you look at any recent merge request that was built, there should be an artifact. Technically, we could also do like a nightly or weekly build and have the XML kept in a place that people just have to click and they can see it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then it's a bit weird because we want people to go to the IETF and not GitHub to have the documents.
Well, but there's also the people coming back into GitHub to work on the document. When we get into V5, I'm going to bring up the thing that I brought up when I first came on board as chair again, which is, how do people figure out where to go to actually do work?
Yeah.
So
Assuming
there
there's
is
not somebody who's worked on Matroska forever.
Yeah, basically, if you go in the CELLAR Matroska 5 directory on GitHub, which I put on the chat, basically you have markdown files, and that's if you join all of them together, that makes the document. So you can, and basically you have body and security, but the most of the bodies in actually it's not in index. So
We,
it's
if we
body.
don't have it like thoroughly and like at the
It's not really
readme of
fully
the
readable.
documentation that would tell people how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we could think of a way to have the XML or HTML, because we could just do the XML with the XSLT, but now they want to remove it from web browser, so can't do that anymore.
Okay, cool. Anything else we need to say about V5?
Not for me.
No.
Okay. That gets us down to any other business, which would give me an opportunity to tell you all that I suck. I got not there. Sorry. I got an email just at as the last IETF began, asking about asking for help with registering audio vivid 3D audio codecs for use in Matroska. And I didn't actually understand how that worked. What I'm asking mostly right now is if somebody could respond to this email, which I just forwarded to the mailing list about an hour ago. I had questions about how somebody would do that, but I'll read the answer. I'll read the answer with great interest.
So basically, they want to add a new codec, right?
Yeah, it is just another format. Vivid audio.
And
they can register a codec ID with the IANA, and the experts, which is us,
yeah,
will be asked if it's okay. I think
okay.
we've never done it. Actually, wait, because it's a codec ID, and that would be for the IANA defined in the codec document that is not an RFC, so the IANA doesn't exist yet. Or maybe it does from Matroska, let me check. It should. No, it
But at
should.
least doing a PR on our repo in any case, and then we register in IANA if needed. Steve, do you answer to the
Yes, I will.
to the email? Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have the codec ID IANA yet because it was for the codec document. So right now they cannot do it that way, so they should just ask us.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Steve, would you be okay to reply to their email?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Thank you. That will be fast. That will be faster than explaining it to me, so that I can explain it to them.
So returning just briefly to whether or not you have artifacts attached to PRs, unless there is an action that's explicitly building an artifact on a PR trigger, you might be remembering releases and not PRs.
Yeah, there's another thing is that whenever we do, so on GitHub, there are tags and there are releases. If we did releases, there might be a way, but we haven't done any because it's a bit useless, but there could be a way to attach, like, for example, if you look on GitHub, let me post the link. We can, in the past, we did releases and we added all the XML and HTML files that were generated from the tag. We don't do that anymore, but we could definitely do that. But that's for like a tagged version, like Matroska v5 doesn't exist yet.
Right.
You can only build it, so you won't be able to access it this way. Or if you make a change, it's not going to show up there. I would have to look if it's possible to generate a file from, a page from multiple markdown, assemble them and make an HTML page. That's almost what the makefile does.
So it's sounding like we would be having the conversation about this conversation sooner rather than later about V5.
Well, no, having V5 come in as a draft is, I'm gonna go work with Hori to make that happen like very soon.
Yeah.
It's then the question about the conversation about how can we get people to engage.
Right.
Like, so.
So you're saying that's more orthogonal than I was thinking.
Yeah.
Cool.
We need to make better use of GitHub, but I don't know yet how.
Okay.
Well, we will have
So
exciting.
this is probably a bridge too far, because in the past you've been pretty invested in using MMark and the make file you've got, which I'm guessing, but I don't know, probably involves more than just compiling the markdown into HTML. Is there something that's putting together examples or other code that's running as part of
No,
that
it's
make?
just the make file. The tricky part is the XML file with all the EBML elements, which is processed with XSLT. And for example, for V5, we only keep the ones that have a max version, mean version of 5. That means they started for V5. So we only keep these elements and then we generate data from that. It's the only tricky part that is not easy with the GitHub interface, but then with GitHub Actions, you can do a lot of things. Like I said, we could, for example, daily generate all the HTML page that correspond to the RFC that we do, even the ones that are not published, like V5. That's easy to do, and we can just add links to the last nightly or next weekly. That part is easy. The tricky part, if people want to start editing, adding things, and see the results, that becomes complicated.
No, but we
Well,
don't need
it's
to
not,
go so far.
it's actually because we generate the artifacts when people make a pull request, they can actually download the HTML and XML file generated and see the result.
Okay.
It's not in the browser, it's a zip file that you have to open.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, all right, I'll find some time to refamiliarize myself with what you have. And I might have a proposal for a slightly different way of doing stuff, but wait for it. We'll see if it comes to fruition.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, we've used up our hour. Is there anything that we need to cover before we run out of time?
I wanted to talk about how to signal the source of a time code. I have a PR for that. So the time code is in the block additional, and the last time we were talking about having a tag for that. And we would like to have some vocabulary about the kind of source. So I have a PR, so Steve, so it may be too late to talk about that today, but if you can have a look at the PR, it would be
I
great.
didn't read it yet, but yeah, I see it.
I have also another question about the block additional. The issue with timecode is sometimes we have the signaling of timecode late only when we have a video frame. So the track header, the track segment, no, not segment, element, the track element is already written, and we didn't reserve enough space, so no void element and so on, or not big enough. And in that case, we cannot write the block additional element in the tracks element. How could we do?
If you have something like that you only know after a while, usually what you do is either you reserve enough space at the beginning, since you don't know how much, it's not optimum, or you just I don't remember the name, the pseudo seek entry, or basically you have a seek entry that says, oh, you have another seek entry at the end of the file. And then there you can put your tags, because usually people put tags at the end anyway, because that's the most common thing that people edit manually, and it can grow big, so you don't want that at the beginning of the file.
But can we write the tags element at the end of a file?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
It is doable.
Yeah.
Another issue. So if we write the tags, the tracks element at the beginning, we can write again the tracks element at the end, saying that it is
Yes,
an
you
update.
can either, if you have enough space, you can rewrite at the one
Mhm.
at the beginning, adding the extra data. If you don't, you can void the element and put it at the end. And the
Okay.
second tree at the beginning of the file, instead of saying
Mm.
if you want the
Yeah.
track entry, it's there at the beginning, you say it's there at the end.
Okay.
It's
So
not
it
very
is.
optimal because that means usually when you start playing, you want the track info right
Yeah.
away. So you
Yeah.
will
There is
have
a
to
seek.
seek at the end, but it's completely legal and doable.
Okay. Okay. That's all.
Cool. Thank you all. We have now run out of agenda also.
Mhm.
So I think we just about broke even.
Yeah.
Thank you all for all
Okay.
that you
Thank
do,
you.
and we will see you in 2026.
Thank you. Bye.
Exactly.
Make good choices.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.